Alrighty, better slightly late than never. 6 minutes late, that's not too bad by my standards. Shout out for Easy D6 by DM Scotty. Great little game. Been on my reading list for a while. Also, Claim the Sky, which is the Supers expansion for the Cypher system by Monty Cook Games. And what else have we got here on my reading list? We have the Player's Handbook from the Forbidden Lands, just to show you how beautiful this thing is. Look at that. That's from a box set, and that's like a leatherette cover. And it's slightly smaller than your average book. So it's a nice, comfortable feel. See? About that size. Just while everybody comes into the chat. Hi, everybody. Let me just pop out the chat there so I can see you. There we go. Okay, now I can see you. Hey, everyone. Hello from your friendly neighborhood sorcerer. Hey, Nick. It's going well. The Kickstarter's still going for the battle mats. It's about getting close to 70% funded. It's got another 89 days to go. So I'm hoping that it picks up a bit in the last week. If it doesn't, that's okay. There may be there may be an option if the main reason why it's set at a manufacturing target of 2,000 set by the factory is because I've got 3 different colors. And if we don't make it to the Kickstarter goal by the time the funding is finished, we are actually at the funding goal if I only do one color, and if I just do the tactical gray, the stone gray color, and then just email everybody who basically backed the Kickstarter and say, hey, look, would you just like to do it via PayPal? Do it via PayPal. Just put in an order, and if I reach the much lower target with just one color, which is like 1,000 units, would be funded, and I can get them manufactured. That's an option. If anybody's interested. Sorry to the people who wanted the plain white or the parchment yellow. I don't know how popular the parchment yellow color was anyway. A lot of people suggested that I do a green or a blue for like a marine one. Hey, Nick. Yeah, it has been a little while. Wizards Help Desk. Hi. I have concerns, Wizards. Hey, KMG. Haven't seen you in a while. Hey, Stephen. I joined to see AJ subtly stroking leather. Why am I not surprised? Well, when you put it that way, it's a bit early in the morning. The sun is technically coming up, I think, but it feels dark. Hey, Star. Hi, YouTuber. Hey, Justin. How's it going? Thanks for being a member. Hey, Stephen. Suggestively stroking leather even. The temperature is up a little bit. It's getting, it's still winter here. Can someone explain how it's 107 degrees outside and raining? Yeah, things have gone a bit weird in the world's weather. But don't worry. I've been looking back through Earth's history lately. I watched a little documentary recently about some ruins and, some remnants of a cave, and how 350,000 years ago, people with brains no larger than chimpanzees were burying their dead ritualistically, going to quite an extreme lengths. They had fire. They were carving symbols into the cave wall the same way that Neanderthals did. And it's just absolutely mind-blowing to think that these people who, these hominid ancestors of ours who were like cousins more than anything, I mean, they may not even been directly related to us, had the same sort of thoughts and beliefs and stuff that people around the world do today. That's somebody going to work at 50,000 miles an hour down my street, if you heard that. Hey, Trenton. And hey, Punnett. Hey, Moondog. So just to remember that they went through, over those 350,000 years, we've been through ice ages, sweltering hot periods, volcanic events which blanketed the world in ash, and made the atmosphere unhealthy. Back to ice ages again. Species have come and gone. Species have evolved over that time. And all that while we were just cruising around doing our things, us upright apes, picking our tools and stuff. Oh yeah, they were tool users. They actually, one of the kids in the grave site area was buried with one of the tools that they used to carve symbols on the walls and stuff. So it's the oldest symbol, oldest tool that they've discovered 350,000 years ago. 350,000 years. And we've only got a history which goes back, 6,000 years or so? And then it gets a bit fuzzy. Was it the Crystal Curse? Yeah, maybe. So I'm I'm writing the Crystal Curse right now. If you go over to, if you're a member of the channel and you go over to the Discord, and in the Discord channel for the Gluminati members, I put a preview of the second chapter of the next adventure, explaining a encounter that the adventuring party has is pretty much as soon as they get to the Ebon Keep. Dinosaurs should have jumped at the right time. Most of the dinosaurs died because of flowers, believe it or not. What is the Crystal Curse? The Crystal Curse is, if you have ever watched the movie The Dark Crystal, and the impact and the influence that the crystal had on the world of Thra, and imagine that there are crystals like that all over the multiverse, and that if you break those crystals or do something to damage those crystals, they can cause dimensional breaks or a change in reality. That is the basis of the curse of Ebonhold. Yeah. So if you've seen the Dark Crystal, you get what I'm talking about. So now imagine that the shard from the Dark Crystal was used to make a magical artifact. What impact would that have on that magical artifact, do you think? In the Dark Crystal, it's nothing special. It's just like any other shard, except for it sort of glows when a certain note is played. It's a piece of the Quaja from Wildmount. Right. Catcher in the Rye told me to break that crystal. Hey, Lysander. Hey, Debbie. It's been a little bit. This is actually the second live stream I've had this month. So the last couple of months I've just had one live stream a month. I might actually increase it a bit because I really do miss my live streams. Do some actual mapping and adventure designing. Oh, thanks, Stephen. I was just saying that there may be an option if the Kickstarter doesn't back the 3 battle map colors option, which is set at 2,000 units. That's outside of my control. If I just set it to the grey instead and don't have the other 2 colors, I can lower the target to 1,000 and get them manufactured outside of Kickstarter, because basically everybody would just need to PayPal it and would be able to manufacture them straight away if all the people that are currently backing it backed it that way. That's only if it doesn't go through. We've still got 8 days to go. And a lot of people back in the last week, like I do. But I usually back Kickstarters at the last minute. The last one I just backed was Abode, which is the guy who in the art industry rescued the blackest black and the pinkest pink paint colors, pigments, from somebody who copyrighted them. And he was basically exactly like me. He doesn't like supporting Photoshop and Adobe. and their subscription model. Like you don't own the tools that you use to make artwork. So he said, well, okay, I'm going to make basically a copy of Adobe called a Bode, and everybody just pays for it once, and we'll just update it for free for the rest of their lives, and that you basically will just fund it via Kickstarter. And he just did. So I backed that, thankfully, and I think it's getting delivered in November. Do I ever do American accents for characters in my stories? No, I don't actually. I very rarely do an American accent. Can you crush the crystal into a powder and snort it, asking for a friend? I mean, the consequences of that would be absolutely terrifying. Well, I suppose if you crush the crystal shard into a powder and snorted that, yeah, you could do that. And I guess the consequences for that would be reasonably bad for your dimension. But it's complicated. Yeah, the trick with the Crystal Curse and the Derailed Adventure is that it's up to the players to actually figure it out. And although it's very simple from the Dungeon Master's perspective, that they need to put the crystal back together to fix reality, it's not ever easy to figure something out when you're a player character group. So you rely very much on the non-player characters that they encounter during the game to explain the plot to them. So it's derailed in that this fantasy is like nothing that Wizards of the Coast would ever put out. It's full of horrific things. It's got like meat growing on the walls. It's got were ticks. It's got far too many rabbits. And it borrows things very heavily from movies and stuff like that. And it also messes with your head, something chronic. But it is essentially explained to you. So it is kind of railroady in some parts in that you can step in as a dungeon master if required and explain things to your characters if they ever get stuck. Do you do Canadian accents in your game? Far more common for me to do a Canadian accent than American, I would say. I mean, I do have a lot of Canadian relatives, and it would be very easy for me to go and live in Canada with my Canadian relatives. I've got cousins, first cousins, and uncles and aunts who live in Canada, permanent, full-time. Hey, Sean. Dice, is that Dicey UK? Hey, Aaron Big. Heisenberg with the crystal, yeah. We could have a Heisenberg character. That would be funny. Americans have accents? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Stephen, there is that. I mean, I don't mind paying a subscription if they do meaningful updates and stuff. But I mean, a lot of the updates that Adobe does is just a cash grab, honestly. Like, they do an update and all of a sudden you lose your color palette unless you pay for it extra. That's just dirty. That's dirty, filthy business tactics. It's not quite as dirty and filthy as Wizards of the Coast, but it's close. I mean, they're not going to send around the Pinkertons to steal your program off your computer. Canuck. Yeah, Adobe used to be okay. Corel used to be in competition to Adobe back in the early days. Yeah, America's got 30 or 40 different accents, easily. Canada's got at least 4 or 5 different accents. Not even mentioning the fact that a lot of people over there speak French. What class would I say Heisenberg would be? What game system are you talking about, pray tell? There's a lot of different game systems. Don't just assume. I'm going to talk about 5th edition. 5th edition is now 1 D&D again, right? What would he be in 4th edition? Warlord. No, he's an alchemist, obviously. Yeah, it's a split in time space reality. That's right. That is the crystal curse. Man, I haven't even bought a coffee. I was so eager to get online. Yeah, Heisenberg is definitely an alchemist, and Jesse is a rogue. He's a bard, essentially. You can just see Jesse breaking out in song, right? GIMP is okay as a design tool. I use Paint.net as well. I use Paint.net mainly for masking and changing the color or contrast or brightness of images when I'm splicing them together. That's what I use that tool for the most, actually. So I use Paint.net with AI generated artwork quite often, or just regular Paint, Microsoft Paint. Have I heard of the game Against the Dark Master? I've heard of it. I haven't played it. Anything with high intelligence and low wisdom. Yeah, he does have low wisdom. You're right. I mean, many people can't understand half of what someone's from Louisiana. Have I ever narrated a story with constructs or robots as the main protagonist? I tried to one time. Didn't work out, though. What is my opinion of the controversies surrounding AI art? Look, at this stage, you either are fundamentally against AI art because of your own opinion, which is fine, or you're not. There is no logical argument against AI art, and history will prove that. But at the moment, if you are personally, ethically, or morally inclined against AI art, then I respect that. But don't come at me arguing that AI art is stealing from anybody. It's not. It's just not. And at the moment, as an artist myself, I use AI art very effectively to be a one-man show. It's a force magnifier for my creativity. So I use it, and I make no bones about the fact that I do use it. So if that shuts me out of the DMs Guild or Drive-Thru RPG, I never published on Drive-Thru RPG or the DMs Guild anyway. I had no intention of. I don't care about their ranking systems. I don't care about their social groups. I don't care about that little viper's nest of social media that they operate. I don't care. If you like the content that I make, I use AI art. If I can afford to pay artists, I will throw them a bone as well, but I'm also an artist myself. So if I need to do some artwork for a document and I've got the time to do it, I'll do it myself. Thanks, Siloin. When I was a kid, ain't and y'all weren't even considered words. Yeah, right. So at the moment, you could say that the controversies involving AI art are largely just knee-jerk Luddite reactions against people who are against the change in the industry as it is. But the industry as it is, for creatives, is cripplingly expensive and very, very difficult to actually support, because artists charge an arm and a leg for what they do, and a lot of the time they are highly unreliable, flighty, flaky, promise the world and don't deliver. And I am an artist, and I'm telling you that's the case. So yeah, I mean, I had one artist that I was working with. I'm not going to name any names, but as soon as the AI thing happened, his prices shot up drastically on a project that he was already halfway through completing. He sent me a half-finished piece of crap and said, pay me the full price for it, plus extra. And I'm like, what? It's like, first of all, this project has fallen through, so I don't need it anyway. I've already paid you enough for that. And given what you've just presented to me, I could make something better with Midjourney anyway. Like, far better. And we're talking thousands of dollars. Or a Midjourney subscription each month is $30. And I can generate hundreds and hundreds of images in a night to get what I want. And I can fine-tune it to get exactly what I want, and then splice together images using software like Paint or GIMP, basically like remixing songs as a hip-hop artist, and voila, present you exactly the image that I had in my mind at the start of it. Because I've upskilled and used prompts and things to do what I do. AI art is generative, so it's based on repairing artwork is what they did originally, and then they said, okay, what if you took away the original artwork entirely and just said, draw me what you think an apple looks like, and then feed lots of images of apples in there, and so the thing goes, okay, I think this is what an apple is, and you go, close, it's actually red apple, not a green apple, because I didn't specify. That's why it can't do words or hands or swords or things like that, and they always come out like it's a dream, but because it doesn't know what hands look like in 3D. It only sees 2D images of hands, and they're always different. It's not copying somebody's art directly, because if it did, it'd be able to copy what the hand looks like. So it's not copying anybody's artwork. And that argument is it's just so persistent, and it's so wrong. It's so annoying because it's so easy to correct if you just do 5 minutes of research of your own and actually go and look it up. You'll see that that's not the case. So my attitude towards people who have, a technical reason why they don't support AI art is like, just look it up, man. Just look it up. It's not my job to explain it to you. And don't penalize what I do creatively because I'm using a tool that you don't understand. I don't understand Photoshop. People have been using Photoshop for years, and guess what? Photoshop's got AI built into it. I wasn't even going to talk about this subject. Why'd you get me started on it? Anyway, so creatively, it's no different from me sitting down and sketching stuff on a piece of paper and then splicing it together. Like doing a sketch, scanning it onto the computer, putting it on Paint, finishing it off on Paint, and then using it in a PDF. It's really no different. Skynet has him. Jared Bledisloe Sims. Bledsoe? I always think Bledisloe because of the Bledisloe Cup in Australia. Sorry. I see you there. I like the fact that Jared often has like quite negative things to say to me in the comments. You kick back, you're good feedback. Like good, reliable, honest, aggressive feedback sometimes is very, very necessary for creatives. You got Vampire 5th Edition, and I'm going to run a game with my sisters. So excited. Ideas for an adventure. With vampires, just go with the tropey sort of basics. A nightclub or drug trade or like human trafficking, that sort of thing. Only problem with AI art is when it's designed and badly designed and literally copies large parts of existing art. Stephen, what did I just say? Any tool can be a weapon if you hold it right. Yeah. That's why when an officer pulls me over and I have asked if I have any weapons, I'm like, well, maybe. I don't do that. I've only ever once. I've interacted with a police officer twice in my life, like in an official capacity. Once because I was letting off fireworks outside of a bar, and that was fair enough. And the other time was because I was riding a scooter at nighttime. This is like a 50cc motorcycle scooter, not a scooter. And there had been thefts of scooters in that area. So they were just checking to make sure that I actually owned it. And I legitimately did. It was registered and everything. The only time I've ever driven a legal vehicle in my life. Oh, I know, Jared. Don't be sad. I'm complimenting you. Oh, there's Dicey UK. Run a group of thin blood vampires who have been orphaned, having a chase diablerizing members of a clan they want to join. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Caused a small storm by asking an AI art question. Well, you weren't asking an AI art question. You were asking an opinion on ethics. And I do have a highly developed sense of ethics, which is the reason why I'm not promoting Wizards of the Coast products at the moment. It's kind of a little bit heartbreaking that so many people were like so against me moving away from the Forgotten Realms, considering I've done about 700 videos on the Forgotten Realms. So pretty much anything that you type into my channel, I've got a video about. It's like, how much more can I possibly do about Forgotten Realms? Well, probably a lifetime's worth, because it's a very, very complicated subject. But there's so many other like games and stuff, and there's so much that I do myself creatively that I thought, like, just give me a break, man. I don't want to support the current regime at Hasbro, okay? That's all. I'm still doing D&D stuff. It's like, yeah. Wouldn't you like me to take the gloves off and show you what I can really design, not just be stuck to the confines of the Forgotten Realms and talk endlessly about that cosmology? Isn't it more fun when I start going off the rails and talking about other stuff, like when I was talking about the Malt Traders and the Deeper Mascar stuff? Because that wasn't in any Forgotten Realms book. I was going full bandito off into the Wild Blue Yonder on that one, and people liked it. Plus, a lot of the stuff that they talk about in with Netheril and stuff has been totally shaken by the official content that Eric Boyd put out about Nurgle. Jurgle, the Lord of the End of Everything. If you haven't read that document, then you don't understand Karsus and the fall of Netheril at all. Or who the Terraseer was, or, what the Nether Scrolls are. Hey, AJ, what would be a male equivalent of a hag? I would probably go with an Oni. An Ogre Mage. That's how we used to use them. Basically, Ogre Mages. A lifetime worth is an understatement. It's barely made a dent in 2 years. Barely made a dent? Oh, you've barely made a dent in 2 years. Yeah, true. A swag. A dag? It can be hard to do stuff without a world for it to sit in, as it can lose a lot of context. Yeah, well, at the moment, I'm just gradually building a world. So at the moment, we're just starting to explore the Midlands. So I could actually draw you a map of where the adventures have traveled so far. So in my head, and if you follow along with the Derailed Fantasy Adventures, I am building a world, slowly but surely. So you can imagine if I carry on doing those for a couple of years, I will have an entire campaign published via video, essentially. And then I could just concentrate them into some PDFs as an omnibus and maybe do a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo or a GameFound and fund a book published with my own campaign setting for you, like Wildmount or whatever, or Eberron. How dark do you go with your campaign? I go as dark as necessary. I go very dark quite often, because I found that it's not up to me how dark the tone of the game is. Like, the content that I'm narrating can be extremely dark, but the players at the table will turn it into a comedy fest every single time. You can't, as a dungeon master, determine how dark things are going to be, like, mood-wise. You can describe things momentarily and build a sense of horror over a space of, say, 15 to 20 minutes, but that's about as long as you can maintain it before the tension is broken either by you or the players at the table, and they'll start talking about something on TikTok, or they'll have a break for dinner, or somebody will narrate some story about something that happened to them at work. They will naturally break that, because like any emotion that you have, it's only sustainable for a certain amount of time, because the hormones, the chemicals in your brain are in limited supply, and your body naturally corrects balances wishy-washy wise. Like, yeah, it's just the way it works. Chemistry. Hey, thanks, Robert. Thanks for reminding me, by the way, this is a monetized live stream. Any super chats or donations or anything like that, greatly appreciated. They help pay the bills and buy me burgers and, most importantly, coffee. After the Vorpal Bunny, I now want you to make an ecology video on other Monty Python monsters like the three-headed giant and the immortal Black Knight. Sure. I thought the Vorpal Bunny was more interesting because it's a trope that is used a lot in gaming, in that you've got an innocent-looking thing which you know is dangerous, because that was established by Monty Python in that movie. And it's been spread so far over all sorts of other fantasy media, fantasy and sci-fi. Hey, HB Hager. Greetings, programs. Hey, Overboard. Sturquillinillus. How's it going? Hey, just left the Astral Sea and the Morph traders of the Unreal Market. All of this inspired by you, obviously. Yeah, thank you. More rituals, more alchemy, more witchcraft. So after the next, and maybe while I'm writing the next adventure for Derailed Fantasy, the Crystal Curse of Ebonhold, it's going to be fairly extensive. Like, I'm only on the second chapter so far, and I imagine it's probably going to go like 10 chapters maybe. And it's going to be a long video, maybe an hour. I might even split it into 2 parts. I don't know. 2-part videos don't generally do very well. And I don't know if anybody's got the tolerance for 1 hour long videos these days. Maybe they do. I don't know. People have, like the Faiths and Clerics of the Forgotten Realms video, I've noticed the average watch time of that is 40-something odd minutes. So people are obviously clicking on that and just letting it play in the background, which is great. Thank you. That's paying the bills for sure. And given that the Red Dragon, the Thay video, and the Faiths and Clerics of the Forgotten Realms videos are my most popular and earning videos at the moment, mainly because of the D&D movie and just people's general ongoing lack of information about religious orders in the Forgotten Realms from Wizards of the Coast themselves. There's some big vehicle out there, like a lawnmower or something. It's shaking my whole house. I wonder if you can hear it. It's a real deep noise. So the next video that I want to put out is it's another class video, and it's a class that I really love, and I am really frustrated that it hasn't been supported by Wizards of the Coast. I was expecting better from Strixhaven. So what I'm going to bring you is my guide to Wizards Academies and the spellcraft learning of wizards, essentially, and all the different types of wizards, abjurationists and enchanters and evokers and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I love doing the long form videos as well. Yeah, you can't hear it? Oh, that's good. It's literally a really low, deep noise that's shaking the whole house. It's the sort of noise that penetrates your spine and keeps you regular. Some big vehicle is operating nearby. The deadliest creature in AD&D is a mimic that has learned about toilet seats. Yeah. It's a pity that they didn't have... they had the mimic in the D&D movie, but they didn't... most people who use mimics don't realize that there has always been the deadly mimic, which is the one that can't talk and just attacks you, and regular mimics, which can speak common. So they've always been able to talk. So there's a connection there where you could say that the mimic is maybe the early life stage, or an alternate or a cousin to other shapeshifters, and doppelgangers are just a humanoid form of mimic, perhaps. Wouldn't it be great if you interact with a doppelganger and then they go, oh, excuse me a minute, and they go, Rah! And their body opens up and they pummel a squirrel and like eat it in like an ooze, and then like you were saying, it's like, what the? It's like, are you a mimic? It's like, well, we're related. It's like, mimic? Pfft, no, you insult me, sir. That rumble is the garage Mercury spun up again. Funny you should mention that. I was looking at, you can get a collection of, I have a love of collecting pure elements. Like people like collecting crystals. I like collecting different types of metals and stuff like that. And there's this full set of all of the stuff that you can collect from the periodic table. And it costs something like $3,780. But you have a full set of all of the elements from the elemental table, essentially, that you can legally get in sealed vials. It looks so cool. That would be a treasure. If like I opened up a trunk and there was that inside there, I'd be like, that would be a treasure beyond measure. AJ, you've done more for D&D lore in the last few years than what Wizards of the Coast has done in the most recent years. I would agree. At the moment, I would say that I've passed the torch on to Josiah from Dungeon Dad. And he's just hit 100,000 subscribers. So, well done, sir. And you should definitely go out and check out his content. His content really, like, he just upped his editing game, and he's covering a lot of the old monsters from AD&D and like Fiend Folio and obscure sources. So essentially we were parallel in making the same sort of content for a while there, and I've diverged off after the controversy, and he's carried on down that route. So he still converts the monsters over to 5th edition for you. I won't be touching game mechanics essentially going forward. Whoa, thanks, Joe. You're just listening while you play Diablo 4. Diablo 4 has proven to be quite popular with everyone. Of course, I'm still boycotting Blizzard, and because of their past activity. Like I say, I've got an overdeveloped sense of ethics, so I can't join you, unfortunately. I was actually contemplating re-downloading Diablo 2 and playing Diablo 2 through again because I really loved it. At the moment, I'm playing Dawn of War Soulstorm and playing through a whole campaign of that. And I just started playing Dawn of War Game of the Year edition as well, which is so dated now, but it's still a great campaign. You showed your DM a couple of vids for the Spelljammer, and now you're playing a Bionoid. Nice. Yeah, I'm boycotting Wizards and Blizzards. It's true. I'm boycotting Hasbro, really. So that also means I will not go and watch any Transformers movies. It's that Barrior energy. Yeah, I would so be a Barrior. I would so be a Barrior, for sure. That would suit me to a T. If I get lithium, you'd have to keep it in a jar of oil. Yeah, it's in a vial of argon gas, I think. Transformers movies, big loss there. Yeah, I still pirate them, dude. I watch and read anything I want. I'm a master of the internet. I'm a researcher of internet lore. Like I've found old documents, like a obscure fanzine from Scotland with the origin of some of the creatures like Githyanki and stuff like that. Not Githyanki, it was something else. Some really obscure origin of monsters that are commonly used in D&D now. Also, I still haven't read through the entire system reference document that they put into basically public domain document of 5th edition. But there's a lot in there that I could cover in my videos because it's public domain now. So 5th edition as a rule set is now almost to the point where it's the old edition that's public access, and me covering it won't won't give any revenue or credits to Wizards of the Coast at all, and I can just reference people to the public document, not to the company that produces it or produced it. It's been 2 years since you've entered a movie theater. I still go to the movies with my dad because it's one of the few things that he can still do. Have I heard or seen anything about the SCPRPG? It's absolutely adore it if you could give the thing a brief overview. Yeah, I will, for sure. There's a lot of crossover with what I do and SCP because I love things like The Strange and Beyond the Supernatural and Kids on Bikes and that sort of stuff through Tales from the Loop from Free League. Those sort of games. I think Beyond the Supernatural did that genre best because you're not restricted to kids on bikes. Sort of, you're not. There's a thing that's nebulous and hard to describe as a game designer, but you can put it this way in a nutshell: cleaving too hard to the cliche of a TV series trope, like the 1980s young kids on motorbikes, BMXs and stuff, who investigate the thing, and there's adults and there's kids with superpower, things with superpowers that you protect and stuff. Cleaving too close to the TV trope sometimes doesn't make for a very well-rounded role-playing game because you don't want to always play that TV show. I'm still reeling from that super chat, Joe. Thank you so much. So the thing I love about Palladium books is Beyond the Supernatural and Ninjas and Super Spies and Heroes Unlimited and all those STC titles is that you have a generic rule system that covers so many bases, and it does psychic power very well in a believable sort of a way. Like it's grounded in a lot of real world mythology and pseudoscience. So it just gels really well. It's very explainable. It's very logically consistent, and you can play a very diverse range of characters. So pretty much any sort of character you can think of that would be involved in that sort of scene, you can make up that character very easily because it's a generic thing. Hey Morgan, still in New Zealand? Yeah, I'm still in New Zealand. Unfortunately, my plans to travel over to Canada have sort of fallen through with the whole OGL crisis thing. And probably, I don't know if the Kickstarter is going to fund as well. If the Kickstarter funds, then I'll be able to afford to go to a Gen Con at some point. But in the meantime, not at the moment. I need to rebuild my my channel's traffic, I think. Yeah, I don't hate Michael Bay, but Transformers is not synergistic with his film style. Also, the one thing that I will say, like, I am going to watch the Marvels, maybe not at the movies, but I certainly will watch the Marvels. But if I hear one more goddamn Beastie Boys song, I'm going to throw something at whoever the fuck is doing that. It's like, stop doing that, you spoilt child. Like, it's not cute anymore. It's good here or there, but like, stop sticking the Beastie Boys in every single one of your fucking movies. It's like, it's stupid, it's childish, it's lame. Michael Bay has got an obsession with testicles, like, and these stupid scenes involving the Beastie Boys. The Beastie Boys was like cool 20 years ago, dude. Stop putting the Beastie Boys in there. It's not great. It's not great. As soon as I heard that in the preview thingy for the Marvels, I was just like, I thought, oh god, this is just generic shit. Which is a horrible disservice to the actresses who are playing in that movie, because they are really good. They're really good actresses. Yeah, and don't forget the like button. The OGL crisis, he says, question mark. Seriously? D&D SCP crossover. Yeah, I'd be more likely to use another system. Like, you could do so much SCP stuff with Palladium. It's just like, I'm telling you that the Palladium system is a lot easier than people think it is. It's based on D&D in the first place, so you already know, the statistics and stuff like that is just a little bit more like combat is a little bit more realistic, and you've got a lot more array of different, like it does a skill system instead of feats and stuff, and your character abilities by your character class are a bit more extensive than in D&D. Essentially, that's it. But otherwise, it's exactly the same. The combat system is better because it treats armor as an ablative sort of thing. Like your armor can get damaged and not work anymore. You can use force fields and things like that. And the magic system and stuff is basically point based instead of spell slots and stuff. So it's a lot more realistic that way. And with a generic universal system, you can basically use it. Once you learn it, you can the whole world of all the different gaming systems or gaming settings opens up to you. So you can literally have a character that goes from a fantasy Palladium setting to a modern day supers game or an SCP situation to a far future situation as well. In fact, the transdimensional TMNT book has got time travel in there. I didn't really like their time travel restrictions, and that you're set, and that it's like a coil of time and you have to drop through at specific points. But the way that you use very, very high levels of skill in mathematics to calculate your time jumps, I thought that was very realistic, because you have to calculate the exact motion of the universe, for instance. So the entire universe is moving. So if you travel through time, the planet is no longer where you were when you jumped. So if I jump back in time, I also have to travel a very great distance in space to go back to where the Earth was at that exact moment that I'm arriving. Otherwise, I just arrive in empty space. Something that a lot of people don't think about when they are talking about time travel. You have to travel extremely far, extremely fast, instantaneously. So time travel is essentially teleporting a massive distance, because the universe has moved a massive distance in that time, a massive distance. So yeah, that's why the TARDIS in Doctor Who is a relative time and space device that can travel through conventional space extremely quickly. The Dread system would be good for an SCP game? Yeah. Is that the one with where you're using a Jenga tower? I sort of avoid things that use like cards or props like that because you can't play them online. I suppose you could use cards, but dice rollers are so much easier. Hey, thanks, Morgan. Solar as Kita. Kita? You've lost me there. That must be something that I'm not familiar with. SCP-2295 is my favorite. Dude, I'm not that much of a fan. I can't name them by number. Oh, open game licenses, yeah. Hey, Robert, if you send me something, I will autograph it and send it to you anyway. If you really want my autograph. Oh yeah, the OGL is screwing up my travel plans, because essentially me moving away from Forgotten Realms and Hasbro Wizards of the Coast world settings and resources strictly on my channel equates to people thinking that I've quit D&D and am no longer making D&D content. Particularly because I started making some content about like aliens and stuff like that. That's now only available for people who have got a subscription to my Patreon. So if you're a patron of my Patreon, you've still got all the links to the aliens videos. But if you go on my regular YouTube channel, you'll see that they're all unlisted now and you can't find them. So that's one of the benefits of being a patron on Patreon. Also, patrons get the full scripts for the adventures and stuff that I write, and they also get free access to any of the PDFs that I make. And considering it's only $1 a month minimum to join my Patreon, That's a fairly good deal, I think. And it will stay being $1 a month, even though I've seen a lot of people who just joined for a month or less than a month just so they could get access to my PDF for free, basically, for $1. That will get you blocked, by the way. You assholes. But that's okay. I sort of suspected some people would do that. It's like, you're lost, man, because you're not coming back, and I'm going to have them more PDFs on there in the future. Better, stronger, faster than before. Try stopping a solar from getting a beer. Hey, thanks for all the likes. I can actually see little love hearts every time you like the stream. So thank you for that. Oh man, can you stream emojis? Could I do the whole NPC thing? Thanks for the like. I actually find that absolutely fascinating. I think I watched Cherry Crush for a couple of minutes. Yeah. Hey, flowers. Flowers. Hearts. Yeah. Oh man, now everybody's doing it. Yeah, I really love the NPC thing. I think it's hilarious. And full credit to them for doing that. I mean, if they're making money from it, good for them. I've got no problem with people charging money for DMing games. I personally don't do it. I probably could earn some money doing that, but I don't. But it is a great way of making sure that the people turn up to your games. If they paid for them, they're definitely going to be there. So that's definitely a big tick in the favor of pay to play. The only shame belongs to her donators. Yes, I agree. Yeah, if you pay for that crap, then yeah. Like I say, your only power these days is through your wallet, and your wallet really creates a reality around you. If the whole world works on money, then be very careful what you spend your money on, because that creates your reality. So if you feed into it, then even your complaints is your attention, and your attention is your money. So that's why you see so many bad adverts. That's why you hear so much crappy music that worms its way into your ear. That's why you see so much drama and crappy makeup live streamer drama and stuff, because that sells. I think who was it? It was Bill Burr and his stand-up comedy or something like that. And he says the reason why that women's sports don't do very well is because women don't watch sports. They watch the fucking Kardashians and stuff like that. It's like, that's what they're paying into. Like if the Kardashians were at an arena, that arena would be fucking full of women. But they don't watch women's sports. So they bitch and moan at men to watch women's sports. It's like, why? We've got our own sports. We're not watching the Kardashians. Do you watch the Kardashians? I have never seen anything to do with the Kardashians. So, yeah, you get what you put your money and your attention into. I mean, Bill Burr's a comedian. He's a masterful comedian. I don't necessarily agree with it's just jokes, man. But that was pretty on the nose. It was like, yeah. It's like, look at the next time you're at a supermarket or whatever, look at the array of women's magazines. That's what they're interested in. Do you see a women's sports magazine anywhere there? No. Oh, look at where she lives. Look at what she's dressed in. Look at her face. Oh, she's had plastic surgery. Oh, her baby got sick. Maybe How many female viewers do I have on my channel? Maybe 6% of my audience. Maybe 6%. They're very loud on social media, very low on the attention spectrum. It's like, maybe if you watch more of my channel, I would do more stuff that you're interested in, but as far as I'm concerned, you're not interested in what I talk about. So you're not interested in lore, you're not interested in monsters. Yeah. Bye, it's time my mummy says go outside. Thanks for responding to my comments. Have a great day. Hey, have a great day too, Star. Thanks for being here. It is almost time for me to go as well. We're down to our last 10 minutes or so. Oh yeah, for sure, Stephen. I'm not saying that like women don't play D&D. No. Half of my gaming groups are always women as well. Sometimes the entire group. I'm just saying that they don't watch my YouTube channel. It just doesn't interest them. Twitch thought streamers killed Leafy. Who? I've heard of Leafy. I don't know what the story is. I can't believe I almost NPC'd on my own stream. That was so funny. Yeah, Cardassians. Oh, right, I see. That's the Star Trek thing. Yeah. The Cardassians, whenever somebody says Cardassians, I think Kardashians from Star Trek. Yeah. What's my favorite line of his? Just because I don't find any one gender attractive doesn't mean I don't have standards. It's the most asexual thing I've ever heard anybody say in a TV show. It's like, just because I don't find anybody attractive doesn't mean I don't have standards. That's such an ace thing to say. I personally, this is my my hill to die on. This is my controversial take. I think Strange New Worlds is actually better than the original Star Trek and Next Generation. I'll go ahead and say it. It's shaping up to be my favorite series of Star Trek, and I would definitely rewatch it. Like, also previously, my favorite, like the most watched series that I've watched all the way through the most times is Star Trek Voyager, because it's got a beginning, middle, and end essentially. And I do like Deep Space Nine, but it got a bit repetitive, and I really didn't like the Bajoran religious thing. That's just personal take, right? And how wishy-washy the whole, like, you know, entities and yeah, the captain being like the chosen one stuff is just like the emissary. I think even he hated it a little bit. Nothing against him as an actor. He's a fantastic actor. But yeah, the storyline in that was a bit... Ugh. I mean, all it would have taken is a bit of time travel in there, and that would have gone to hell in a handbasket. Every single time Star Trek, even though Star Trek has done it in the movies and it's canon to the story, every time they do time travel, it's a bit wibbly-wobbly. But Strange New Worlds has already gone there, and I think they handled it really well as an alternate universe sort of time travel thing. So that was good. Yeah, tribbles. But I mean, at least it gave some sort of explanation for the origin of the tribbles. Oh, a tribble video from me, do you mean? I could do a tribble video. Sure. Yeah. The characters were really good. Yeah. I mean, Cisco was the best part of that series for sure, and Odo was probably pretty good, and Quark, of course, fantastic. Kira, yeah, maybe. Garrick, definitely very cool character. Even Bashir, cool characters. So yeah, I've got nothing against Deep Space Nine, but it's not personally my favorite go-to. Like, I'll watch it if it's playing, for sure. And I'll watch Voyager if it's playing, for sure. But yeah, every Thursday they screen a new episode of Star Trek, and I watch it as soon as I can. Like, I'm like, it's one of those shows where you make your meal and you get your drink and you turn your lights down and you orient your whole day around watching that show. That's how much I like it. It's like my special time watching Star Trek. If somebody knocked on my door, I'd be like, fuck off. I would watch that show. That's how much I'm enjoying it. It's like my happy place. Oh, you didn't like the ending, and you thought it went off the right? Yeah, there were some bits like with the when they were traveling through the like highly contested sort of. Yeah, some bits of Voyager were a bit of a tiresome thing, but that's the same with most series. I think it's just my personal take. All Tomorrows of Man or Man After Man. No, I have not read them extensively. No, but yeah, I do love speculative evolution, and there's a bit of that in the Curse of the Crystal Curse of Ebonhold. Time travel is hard to pull off well. The best way to handle it is alternate universes, like in Rick and Morty. That's the best way to handle time travel. And it's the only way to handle it logically. What is Garrick's alignment? I would say he was probably a chaotic neutral character with leanings towards lawful evil at stages. But in the end, he was definitely a lawful character, I think. He masqueraded as a chaotic character, but he was definitely lawful. Like, he had strong principles and stuff, and he had a revenge streak a mile wide. But essentially, he was trying to do the good thing according to his set of ideals, so that's a lawful characteristic. But he was capable of being evil. I don't think he enjoyed it, though. Kardashians, though, they do quite like revenge, so... You're working on a Lego Hogwarts castle. Adding the room of requirements is wild. Yeah, do so, please, Justin. All threads, if not Twitter. Yeah, the attack triple was a terrifying idea, for sure. Stargate. Oh, talking of Stargate, the if you get the Stargate SCP, the RPG, it's a better version of 5th edition because it's got some expanded social rules, which are really, really good. Got any painted battle mechs lying around? No, I don't. In fact, if I was to make a battle mech of some kind, I'd probably handcraft it from scratch. Also, I've got a resin printer now, so that's a water elemental, by the way, more like a water weird. So I can actually 3D print stuff. So if anybody's got any files that they want to send me, particularly for like, I'm not going to spend $76 for a squad of Space Marines, but because there's nobody around here playing Warhammer. But I would like to play it online, like via camera link and stuff on like a numbered mat. So if there's anybody who's on my server or anything who's interested in playing some Warhammer and has got a 3D printer, I mean, they've priced themselves into the piracy market as far as I'm concerned, right? I'm not afraid to say it. I can't afford it. I'm not spending that money on that. It's ridiculous. I'll spend my money on the paint and support the paint industry. Army painters are my go-to, that's for sure. Army painter paints, war paints. And at the moment, I'm painting my kobolds, tiny weeny little kobolds, and goblins. There we go. I'm going with green because Dungeon Master Johnny requested that I go green instead of the Wizards of the Coast yellow, and I agreed. You don't have a 3D printer, but you play? Nice. There you go. I mean, look over my shoulder. What do you see in the background? It's a Jolly Roger. I am a pirate. every proper sage or researcher is a pirate, because sometimes you can't get access to the printed book in its original format. It's out of print. I mean, where do you find it? Try and get a full selection of Dragon magazines these days. Can't do it. Yeah, Games Workshop prices have always been higher, and also Games Workshop only exists because Gary Gygax decided not to go with them as the manufacturer of miniatures, and that's why they diverged and created Warhammer in the first place instead of just going with D&D. They were originally just an arm of Dungeons and Dragons, essentially. But much like Wizards of the Coast, Gary Gygax went and made his own competition just by, screwing over somebody else. Yeah, green's best. Oh, Chris, that's the comment of the stream. I'll fucking whittle my own minis before I pay those prices. Exactly. I will whittle my own miniatures out of wood before I'll spend that much money on a fucking Space Marine. Yeah, exactly. In an alternate timeline, yeah, Games Workshop owns D&D, or D&D owns Games Workshop. Essentially, yeah, exactly. It could have gone so differently. Okay, everybody, it's time for me to go. Thanks again, Good Joe, for that massive super chat. Thank you very much. That made my day. And everybody else, I will be back again probably in another week or so for the start of the month. And support your alternate entertainment sources out there. Support your other streamers. Support your content creators. Big shout out to all of my contemporaries, Dungeon Dad and Jordan and Mr. Rex and How to D&D and Wally DM and all you guys that I hang out with in game now. And thanks everybody for tuning in, and thanks for your support, and thanks for your views. I will continue to entertain you as long as you keep watching. Bye-bye.